My Tigers win again. They have won game one of the AL wild card against the Houston Astros. How they keep doing this is unbelievable. How they even got to this point is unbelievable. They have been the best team in baseball for the past 2 months, essentially. They won more games in the second half of the season than anyone. Followed in second place with 38 wins, I believe, was these Houston Astros. The Tigers had 39 wins. The key to all this was a stretch where they went 31-11 since since August 11th.
Yeah.
Uh, where 31-11 kind of sounds a little bit, not quite, but a little bit like 35-5 that the 1984 Tigers were so famous for. Their start that was just insurmountable, that led to their 104 win season and eventual World Series championship against the San Diego Padres, which they happen to be in the playoffs this year as well. So might be a little bit of a
Ooh.
harbinger. The Tigers, I mean, everyone's trying to explain how they keep doing this. After the trade deadline, we haven't done that many episodes the second half, but we've
No.
discussed things here and there. Of course, they traded away Jack Flaherty. The other two-fifths of the rotation was injured, with Casey Mize and Reese Olson going down with injury. They basically have had a two-man rotation, but that two-man rotation happens to include the best pitcher on the planet. I mean, I think it's pretty easy to call Tarek Skubal the greatest living pitcher at this moment. So that helps. The other thing that helps is you have a manager who absolutely emphasizes every potential advantage he possibly can with matchups with his relief staff and with his starting lineup and the bench. Basically, there are 26 men on the roster, and all 26 of those guys are going to play almost in every game at this point. It is a masterful use of a limited roster in many ways, a young roster by AJ Hinch, who I think has to win Manager of the Year. I don't know. I don't
I
know how.
agree. I mean, I don't see how you
I
don't.
I think the front runner, and this is where it gets a little bit complicated, has been, I don't even know who he is, the Royals manager. He's been talked about from day one because no one expected the Royals to do what they're doing.
Ned
So
Yost? No, I'm
that's
just kidding.
no, definitely not Ned Yost. But there's that's going to be an interesting race, and I'm going to be really pissed off if AJ doesn't get it, because a huge reason why I believe the Tigers are here is his matchup prowess, his managerial skills have just been impeccable. But at the same time, he's with baseball in general. He got really lucky because every lever he's pulled has worked. Whether it's pinch hitters at the right time, whether it's calling on the bullpen, that has not let him down almost at all in any circumstance. So you have to give the credit to the players as much as I want to give it to AJ. They have none of this works if they don't follow through. He puts them in positions to succeed, which is his job. But they keep uh, just rewarding him for his efforts. So it's been incredible. Basically what the Tigers are doing is bullpen games, and we've seen this over time, where you just kind of throw everybody at a game, but that usually isn't sustainable. You might be able to win a game here or there. Tigers have been doing it for almost 2 months. They really have only had Tarek Skubal and Keter Montero to lean on, as eventually other starters got healthy again, as Reese Olson and Casey Mize came back, but they've been in a very limited role these last maybe 2 weeks. So it's really been two-fifths of a real rotation, and then it's just all bullpen games. So I I I just I don't know, like, how this is sustainable, but it is. It has been. It's not. This isn't like a 2 week span. This is almost a 2 month span. So how these guys aren't running out of gas is beyond me. And I would say it's got to catch up to them at some point. But here we are, one game into the playoffs, and they're in the driver's seat already in this first round, this wild card round. The wild card is, you know, they've had this new wild card round with 3 games, all at the higher seeds home field. they've had this for 2 years, 3 years, and it's something like 80 to 90% of whoever wins game 1 wins the series. And that's where the Tigers find themselves right now. It's also the last 2 years, 100% of road teams have won in the wild card round. So the
Hmm.
Tigers are lining up perfectly for that. And essentially the way, just having a 3-game series where you only have to win 2 games, the Tigers are set up perfectly for it. Especially I thought going into it, I thought they were set up really well with the best pitcher on the planet, Eric Skubal, and then they just have to win one more game with a bullpen that has been lights out. If you want to get to the nuts and bolts of it, though, what's happening is AJ is turning like leverage on its ear almost, like matchups. If you think about it, most opposing managers set their batting lineup based on the opposing pitcher, whether he's a lefty or righty or whatever their splits are, whatever advantages his lineup might have. But you can't do that with the Tigers. The Tigers just wait for you to put your lineup out there, which you just have. I mean, typically with the A or with the Astros, they don't have a varied lineup. It's pretty much the same every day. You know who's going to be out there. Uh, the AJ can set his pitching rotation to match up with that and to leverage, the first inning of the game, the opener that we've heard of that was invented by Tampa and has been used by Oakland. I think it's been perfected by the Tigers this year, or at least it's been maximized for an inordinate amount of time. AJ can make sure that your best hitters never see the same pitcher twice, which you hear about the OPS or batting average or everything escalates exponentially second and third time through the lineup as pitchers their advantage goes away over time as batters see their different pitches in their arsenal. Well, the way AJ's doing it, you can never see those guys twice. So essentially, anytime there's a matchup advantage, AJ will just go to the pen and have a guy that he can rely on. And basically, being in a playoff race for these last 2 months, like every day they have to win games just to get to where they got to. They're all battle tested, and they've all been in high leverage situations. So AJ has the confidence to go to anybody in the pen at any time and in any matchup that is favorable to him. It got dicey today with Jason Foley essentially shitting the bed in the ninth, but he was bailed out by Brobrisky, and they just have enough arms to get it done. So while I think this is going to work out in their favor, they're certainly in the driver's seat and in a good position to get one more win against the Astros. I don't. It's going to get more and more difficult as the series get longer. In the second round, of course, it's a 5-game series, and then after that, it's 7 games, and that's where I would assume the Tigers would get exposed, but I
I don't
assume they were going to
know.
get exposed long ago. You you and I was actually visiting you 2 weeks ago, just a short 2 weeks ago there in Chicago for a White Sox Oakland A's game, which was we should probably talk about that when we get to your Chicago segment. But I told you point blank, I think they were 3 games back of the Twins at the time. I said there's no chance. They had to go to they had a series against Baltimore coming up. They had a road series against the Royals, and then they had a road series against Baltimore again coming up. It's
Right.
like, well, they're 3 games behind the Twins at this point, which was really 4 games because they had lost the tiebreaker already. And it's like with that gauntlet coming up, it's like they've made this fun. They gave us good September baseball, which is all you can ask for out of your ball club. Uh, but I knew it was going to end, and I couldn't have been more wrong. They won 4 out of 6 against Baltimore, who I thought was just going to wipe the floor with them, and then they swept the Royals. They went 7-2 in those games and just catapulted themselves in the final week when they took care of the Tampa Bay Rays and then your Chicago White Sox. They only had to win 1 game to make the playoffs, and they did last Friday night. And what a glorious night it was! You didn't go down without a fight, though. Your Garrett Crochet was masterful, but of course, he's limited to only 4 innings. But
Yeah,
but
kind of like
I guess
what it kind of went like we thought opening day was going to go.
yeah, exactly. That's ironic. I didn't even think about that.
Word Hole Media.